Around €2,000 will buy you this complete wireless sound system, and honestly, it left me questioning whether I actually liked the way it played better than my €30,000 reference setup during casual listening. What kind of dark magic is that? Watch this Ross review, created specifically for people in a hurry. Before we dive into the nitty-gritty, can I kindly ask you to hit that like button? Oh, thank you. So much appreciated. And if you feel like we might be meant for each other, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell for real-time love. We are going to dissect the Technics SC-CX70 from top to bottom really quickly. We cover the design, the setup, the sound, including all the stuff that drove me nuts. But first, let me tell you why I think this system might be the best entry to the hi-fi world without breaking a bank we have seen in a while. We do this by ignore the, for hardcore audiophiles, smaller price tag, testing it as an adult hi-fi system in various placements in our treated listening room here, but also in an average untreated domestic home, as well as a brief test in listening team member Tim's studio, where we give it a run for its money to verify his finding against his fine Neumann studio monitors. I have a feeling that this system can actually be a pretty interesting starting point for the soon-to-be audiophile. This is a complete wireless hi-fi system. You don't need anything else but a phone and Bluetooth if you wish. But the system can also be connected to all your stuff, including a cool turntable. Everything is housed in the master speaker that you decide if it should be your left or right speaker on a little switch. Simple. The system is wrapped in a microfiber that feels like velvety suede.
This is beautiful. What is that, velvet?
It's soft, tactile, and visually striking. The microfiber is made from recycled polyester, which gives you a luxurious and cozy touch. It makes me giggle just looking at it. Overall, we got good firm wife approvals as well on those. You know the feeling when that happens? Available in blackish, grayish and brownish colors with some fancy-smancy names, it seamlessly integrates into most rooms, and that soft material actually helps reduce reflections if you place it on a bookshelf. As for engineering goes, the elitist Technics engineers has naturally totally over-engineered this system in the usual style in what appears to be all the right ways. We got coaxial drivers, we got the Geno engine, we got digital amplifiers and a front-facing bass reflex port, plus a built-in, very easy-to-use room correction system that is brilliant for ensuring a good, correct response even when placed in, say, a bookshelf. Overall, it makes the system super duper flexible in terms of placement, given its wireless nature, but also due to the inclusion of that Space Tune room correction that can be executed with one button press from the remote, or done with more precision with either fixed filters or a more thorough measurement from the listening position using the app from hell. One speaker houses all the connectivity, while the other connects wirelessly or via a link cable. I think they will just actually change over dynamically, which is kind of cool.
Automatically when they see a connection.
So when I pull this cable out, they will connect wirelessly.
Smart.
Yeah. So just play. Let's see if they do the changeover. Something with a stand here, that's better. I put in the cable.
But now they only block the sun.
Done something.
That's it.
Smart.
Does it sound different?
And there's snow on everyone.
Not particularly.
Yes, Technics purists will tell you to use the cable for optimal sound quality, but in our tests, wirelessly worked flawlessly, and we could not pick out any really detectable difference by ear. For maximum stability, it's always a good idea to use the cable if the placement allows, though. Setting it up was kind of... But once you figure out how, setting up Wi-Fi on iOS was a breeze using the AirPlay speaker setup. The units simply inherit your device's network settings and you're good to go. From here you can use the Technics Audio Center app and let it rip up your Ulster with its awful and slow interface. If you can, use a LAN connection for better response, speed and stability for the network connection, but in our testing, the wireless performance was actually surprisingly solid. And you can't deny using the system wirelessly has great benefits in the way it can be placed in the home, that Tim here demonstrates. When it comes to connecting sources, no matter what you need really, the system just accommodates. We got a great sounding phono stage built in for that hipster turntable of yours, the HDMI for TV sound, optical input maybe for a CD player, and USB-C for a computer or another streamer maybe, as well as that mini jack line input to hook up whatever phones or odd crap you might have lying around. Annoyingly though, there's no coaxial input, so if you need it, you have to use a coaxial to optical converter thingy. All in all, it's a very well-equipped integrated speaker system, if not the best compared to similar systems. So let's just rip the band-aid off and dive straight into the stuff that really bugged me. First of all, the setup. The manual here. It's just terrible. It's poorly translated and confusing. You would probably be better off for the most part just ignoring it and figuring things out. The remote control, another beaut. I've praised Technics remotes in the past for being some of the best in the industry. They have perfect size, great buttons, excellent range. But this thing? It's flimsy. It has poor IR range and inconsistent response, and you need to point it directly at one of the speakers. It's like they took all their knowledge of making great remotes and just threw it out the window. I would rather have seen a €200 price increase and a great remote here. Then there is the Technics Audio Center app. It's an absolute disaster. It's often slow, clunky, and full of unnecessary clicks, right from the beginning. Unfortunately, you actually need it for advanced features like title streaming, internet radio, browsing your media servers, and setting up things. If you're using Roon AirPlayer Bluetooth or some other external source, you don't notice as much, as you can totally avoid it in daily use. User interface-wise, it's all over the place. It does not feel very thought out. You can remove sources you don't need from the homepage, which is really nice to clear up the interface a bit. Browsing DNLA media servers is also very nice. Depending on network and device, waiting time sometimes seems way too long. In short, efficiency is not the first word that actually comes to mind when using this app. Since Technics have had this app for years, accepting this level of user experience, I don't really expect much improvement to happen in regards to this. If you want to use a service like Tidal at full quality streaming, the only option is to use it via the Technics app. No Tidal Connect here. One big miss for me is the lack of preset buttons on the system itself, meaning that you have to make more trips to the app than you like, say just for playing your daily radio. If you are using the newly supported tool for the music lover, Roon, for all your music and radio, you really won't be bothered much with the Technics app. Neither will you if you use AirPlay or Bluetooth or simply just use a turntable or TV as sources. Smart TVs and something like maybe an Apple TV in this day and age also offer much convenience in access to music services and radio, and that way you can get a much better user experience. That would be my recommendation. Remember that I said that this could very well be a great entry system for the audiophile to be, or a great second system for an audiophile. So let's give the system a serious run for its money. What really made me want to go more in depth with a little system like this was that during the initial burn-in period, where the system mostly just was used as a everyday background music system, it really caught my ear. After 2 weeks of casual listening, I found myself preferring this system over the 30,000 euro reference system for casual background music. The clear and smooth sound just works for me on a low level, and the even dispersion in the room from the coaxial drivers also makes for a nice sound no matter where you are in the room, without any annoying shifts in the tonality or balance. This is not something that happens by itself. Many speakers, including the amazing Radiant Acoustic Clarity 6.2 speakers we tested here on the channel recently, can't do this. And you have to be in a very specific position to get the perfect frequency balance. But let's visit the listening sessions that listening team member Tim and I did independently to get a feel for how different the experience was to us. Remember, the full sessions with all gloves off are available exclusively to patrons or can be purchased as a single purchase. So check out the Patreon page for more information on that if you want to see the entire thing. Let's start off by figuring out how much these guys can take. Do they hit the end stops? How loud do they actually become? Parallax. Wow. Huge soundstage coming out of these things. That's pretty amazing. No end stops is being hit here. I think we reached like 100 dBs in 3 meter distance. That's super impressive. Let's start out with something that can be a little thin sounding. Wow. The rim shot on this Van Morrison track and the voices. What a soundstage. Nice full-bodied rim. This is very nice. Very attractive sound. A little vocal forward. Beautiful sound staging. This is a 2,500 euro sound system. We've got to remember that. Everything is just presented so sharply. I mean, every element here is just carved out. It's so beautifully rendered. Wow, one of the freaks of nature. Not much sounding like that from the period, that's for sure, of electronic music. Oh, this is a classic. This is also staging.
In other words, hold my hand.
If you like speakers that creates a huge sense of space, maybe I'm just getting lucky today here with the placement and everything. But this is really, really enjoyable. I love it.
1 hour later.
I don't think in the long run that sitting down like this and just listening for 4 hours, I think the smoothness will get to me. And I can feel it's beginning to get to me now.
I know you're laughing because it's a phantom image that gets developed from the two sources into the stereo field in the middle. But it seems, artificially centered. And I don't know, it's because the distance that I'm at or they're quite wide from each other, but they are an equilateral triangle, I assume. There's as far in between the speakers as there is from the speaker to me, what? Yeah. So that's correct, but it feels...
But we can try and move them a little closer to each other. Should I do that?
Yeah.
A few inches later.
Vocals are very, very forward. So there's a lot of focus on the vocals. But again, it starts to feel artificially forward.
Mm-hmm.
So less a part of the music than I would normally expect. So in that sense, I can see that they would provide a lot of mid-tone clarity and presence at a lower volume. Here it becomes slightly artificially unbalanced.
Yeah.
Again, they do a good job with the vocals, but they're very, very far forward in the mix.
Yeah.
Or in the presentation, not in the mix. Yeah.
I think, they aim at providing some precision sound here.
Absolutely. There's a lot of clarity. There's a lot of definition in it, and it's a one-stop shop for, you get everything in a small package. They look nice, job done sort of thing.
If you want to join in on the sessions, check them out on the Patreon page. Link right here in the image. One of the real standout features on this little system is the Spacetune room correction. One click and it tightens up the bass response significantly, especially if you place the speakers in a less than ideal spot. For those who want more control, you can use an iOS device for more precise tuning. You can also add a subwoofer, but here's the catch. The sub-out is a full frequency output with no crossover. I tried to use it with a Buchart Sub 10 subwoofer, and while it added deeper bass, it didn't offload the low frequencies going into the main speakers. The built-in room correction doesn't apply to the sub-out either, so good integration can be really tricky to achieve and will most likely just work against your balanced sounds coming from the speakers only.
Do you know what this means?
It's not possible to gain more headroom since the little speakers are not offloaded when you add that sub. It feels a bit like a missed opportunity to me here. So, does the SC-CX700 deliver? Yes, indeed it does. No doubt that it's a great little starter hi-fi system where you really can explore all the joys of real hi-fi sound and imaging. Without breaking the bank, that is. We also get pretty solid and reliable operation once the system was set up and running, and the flexibility you get here for placement is just undeniable. We both had really good wife acceptance factor responses, and even if you have to work with less than optimal placement of the speakers, that built-in room correction makes access to a pretty balanced sound very achievable. When judging it as an adult hi-fi speaker where you sit down in front of the speakers and listen for hours on end, we noticed some honkiness to the mid-range as Tim expressed it. I noted the smoothness becoming a little bit too tiring after extended focused listening. If you are more of a casual listener, you will surely enjoy the competent and beefy sound all day. The overall sound experience quality and the sound performance and design and technical engineering are the best I've seen in this category, where systems like the KEF LX2, they need to get up very early now to be able to follow and lacks the connectivity in comparison. What you get here is spot on for the money. It's a high-value product that will provide a real hi-fi experience in normal homes. I used the system for an extended period of time, and I swear were more music on average in my home than usual, which says a lot about the daily enjoyment of the sound at those casual levels. Now, if Technics also understood to make an inviting appliance-like app and added some preset buttons for your everyday stuff, this would be an absolute hit in my book. Hang on for the pros, the cons, and the review score. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to tap those like and subscribe buttons, and do check out the Patreon for even more in-depth content and the full Unhinged listening sessions. Until next time, remember that everything you need to know will be revealed when we just listen.
Step in the room, it's the SCCX. Microfiber suede feels better than flex. 2 Gs, it's a steal, let the doubters perplex. Competes with setups 10 times the checks. Switch the master, left the right, no stress. Coaxial driver, Gino engine finesse. Space tune on point, 1 button, it's blessed. Casual or critical, it passes the test. Room to roam, wireless on deck. App's a nightmare, yeah, I'll call that a wreck. But don't let that app leave your mind perplexed. This system's got heart, better give it respect. Stern home reviews, chant it loud. Technics in the house, we shake the crowd. Or 2K magic, yeah, it astounds. Hi-fi revolution, let's break it down. It's HDMI, phono, USB-C. Hipster turntable, yeah, plug it with these. Got no coaxial, that's a minor disease. Optical work, so no need to freeze. Base plate flex port, front facing tight. Built-in correction keeps your placement right. Tim and I debated sound wars ignite, but for entry-level hi-fi it shines so bright. Mid-range honk, okay, noted critique, but smooth at low volumes for casual peaks. No sub crossover, a move that's weak, but the rest of the system, straight unique. Stern home reviews, chant it loud. Technics in the house, we shake the crowd. Or 2K magic, yeah, it astounds. Hi-fi revolution, let's break it down. Turn the knob, feel the vibe. Velvety finish, let it thrive. Audiophile dreams, it's on the rise. 30K setups, get incised. Tidal stream or Bluetooth groove. Space tune tech, get in the mood. Patreon gang, exclusive moves. Get subbed or popped, we never lose. Stern home reviews, chant it loud. Technics in the house, we shake the crowd. Well, 2K magic, yeah, it astounds. Hi-fi revolution, let's break it down.
Please to help me with my rucksack?
Sit, Ubu. Sit. Sit.
Oh, yeah, sure, why not?